Okay, so get ready because we're diving deep into some serious financial astrology today.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be talking about the Venus retrograde that's happening in 2025. And this time,
Uh-huh.
it seems like it's all about money karma.
Yeah, it seems most people, only think about relationship drama when they hear Venus retrograde,
Right.
but the financial impact can be huge.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what we're focusing on today.
Yeah, and to help us kind of navigate this whole cosmic roller coaster,
Right.
we have with us the one and only Lorenzo,
Oh, yeah.
an astrologer who's known for his incredibly accurate predictions.
Yes, his predictions are based on, precise planetary movements, and
Mhm.
he has a quite impressive track record.
Like, he's really good.
Yeah, what I really love about his work is that he just really dives deep into like the nitty-gritty
Yeah,
of these planetary movements and how they play out in the real world.
right.
So before we get into Lorenzo's, predictions and the specifics of this Venus retrograde.
Let's break down some basics just for our listener. What exactly is Venus retrograde?
Okay.
And why does it seem to shake things up so much in our financial lives?
Okay. So Venus is the planet that governs a lot of things that we love. Beauty, pleasure, and yes, love and relationships. But
Okay.
it also rules our values, like what we find attractive
Huh?
and how we handle money and material possessions.
So when Venus goes retrograde.
Everything Venus rules gets a bit distorted.
Ah,
So imagine like you're trying to make financial decisions
okay.
while looking in a funhouse mirror.
Uh-huh.
Things might not be what they appear.
Oh,
That amazing investment opportunity,
right.
maybe not so much. Or what seems like a financial loss
Mhm.
could actually set you up for something better down the road.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So how does this retrograde play out in 2025 specifically?
Right.
What dates should our listener be aware of?
Okay, so mark your calendars for March 2nd to April 14th, 2025.
Got it.
Now, here's where things get really interesting. Okay. This Venus retrograde will be transiting through two signs.
Oh, 2 for the price of 1.
Yes, two for the price of one.
I like it. Okay, what are the signs?
Aries and Pisces.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
what does that mean financially for us?
So think of Aries as the impulsive and action-oriented energy.
Okay.
So it's all about taking risks,
Uh-huh.
sometimes without thinking things through.
Okay.
Now combine that energy with Pisces,
Mhm.
the dreamy, intuitive sign that sometimes has trouble distinguishing reality from fantasy.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yes.
Not necessarily the best combo.
Not the ideal combo for making clear-headed
A financial decision.
financial decisions, no.
Okay, got it. So we've got like the potential for like reckless spending
Reckless spending.
and then also being susceptible to like illusions and.
Yes, and Lorenzo points out that this could create a potent mix for some,
Right.
shall we say, interesting financial choices.
Okay, listener, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
This is a little intense, but don't worry, we're going to break it down for you.
Yes.
So Lorenzo has given us some predictions for each zodiac sign, so you know what to expect.
Yes.
Let's start with the good news first.
Oh, okay.
So Lorenzo actually lists some signs that could benefit financially during this retrograde.
Yes. He specifically mentions Pisces, Aquarius, Virgo, Leo, Sagittarius, and Scorpio as the signs most likely to experience financial gains.
Wait, hold on, Pisces.
Yes,
Isn't that one of the signs that Venus is retrograding through?
it is.
Okay.
And yet, he says, ironically, Pisces could actually see some benefit from this.
Okay.
He explains that this retrograde will activate their second house of money and self-worth.
Uh-huh.
So this could manifest as old debts being repaid,
Okay.
receiving unexpected gifts,
Right.
or having money coming in from creative projects.
So it's like a cosmic payback time for Pisces.
Exactly. If you're Pisces and have been waiting on a payment or feel like you've been financially undervalued, this is when you might finally see some positive movement.
That's really encouraging.
Okay.
Okay, what about Aquarius? How might they experience this retrograde financially?
So for Aquarius, he highlights the activation of their third and second houses.
Okay.
This suggests that an Aquarius might see money coming in through their network communication or even those side hustles that they've been working on.
Nice.
It's also possible that a financial opportunity that they thought they'd missed could come back around.
I like that second chances are always welcome,
Yes,
especially when it comes to finances.
especially.
Okay. What about Virgo? What kind of financial blessings are in store for them, according to Lorenzo?
So for Virgos, he emphasizes their 8th and 7th houses.
Okay.
He suggests that potential financial gains could come through inheritance,
Okay.
legal settlements, or even financial partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
This could also be a time when a Virgo finally receives money that is owed to them.
Okay. Virgos, if anyone owes you money, now might be the time to send a gentle reminder.
Yes, send those invoices.
Right.
Now, when it comes to Leo, Lorenzo's focus is on their 9th and 8th houses.
Okay.
He predicts Leos could receive unexpected payouts related to international work, digital projects, or even delayed bonuses.
Those lucky Leos, always on top of things.
Always.
Okay, so what about Sagittarius?
Okay.
How does this Venus retrograde affect their finances?
So Lorenzo points to the activation of their 5th and 4th houses, suggesting a potential for money coming through creative projects, family wealth, or even surprise gifts.
Oh, nice.
He also mentions this could be a time for real estate or home-related financial benefits for Sagittarius.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Scorpio? How does this Venus retrograde impact their financial situation, according to Lorenzo?
Scorpios can expect to see their 6th and 5th houses activated, which points to possible income increases through work, promotions, or even receiving back pay that they are owed. Lorenzo also indicates that this is a time when their hard work and dedication will be acknowledged, perhaps leading to new financial opportunities as well.
So for Scorpios, it sounds like it's all about reaping the rewards of their past efforts.
Yes, that's one way to look at it.
Wow. Okay, that's great news for those 6 signs.
Yes.
But I'm guessing not everyone will be quite so lucky during this Venus retrograde. So which signs does Lorenzo say should be extra cautious with their finances?
So Lorenzo's very clear that Aries, Taurus, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn need to be extra cautious with their finances during this retrograde.
Okay, listener, if you're one of these signs, listen closely.
Listen closely.
What specific challenges might these signs encounter?
Let's start with Aries.
Okay.
Because Venus will be retrograding through Aries. Initially, their 1st and 12th houses are being activated. This combination, according to Lorenzo, can lead to impulsive financial decisions, unexpected expenses, and even losses from risky investments.
So for Aries, it's all about resisting those urges to splurge and really thinking things through before making any big financial moves.
Exactly. Aries need to be very mindful of their spending habits during this time.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Taurus? What financial challenges might they face?
For Taurus, Lorenzo points to the possibility of hidden financial surprises.
Oh,
Think unexpected bills, loss of income sources, or even financial struggles related to friendships. He specifically warns against lending money during this time, as it might not be returned.
Oof, that's never fun. It sounds like Taurus needs to be extra vigilant about their financial boundaries.
Yes.
And maybe have some open and honest conversations with friends if money is involved.
Exactly.
Okay, what about Cancer? What does Lorenzo say they need to be aware of?
So Lorenzo says that for Cancers, the 10th and 9th houses are in focus, which could bring some career instability.
Okay.
Or even job-related financial losses. He also cautions against large financial commitments tied to education, travel, or major purchases at this time.
So Cancers maybe put those big spending plans on hold for a bit, just to be safe.
Yes, just to be safe.
Okay, what about Libra? What should they be aware of during this Venus retrograde?
Libras need to pay attention to their 7th and 6th houses.
Okay.
Lorenzo warns that this could lead to financial disagreements in relationships. Shared money could become a point of contention. And legal or business contracts could bring hidden financial stress.
Well, that sounds tricky. It seems like this would be a good time for Libras to have some open and honest communication with their partners about finances.
Yes, communication is key.
And maybe review any contracts carefully just to make sure everything is above board.
Yes, good advice.
Okay, and finally for Capricorns, what should they be looking out for?
Okay, so for Capricorns, Lorenzo's focus is on their 4th and 3rd houses. He indicates that this could bring unexpected home expenses or financial strain from family obligations.
Okay.
He also advises Capricorns to watch out for communication issues and hidden fees in contracts.
So Capricorns need to be extra detail-oriented.
Very detail-oriented.
And make sure everything is crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
Before signing anything.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, this is a lot to take in already.
It is.
We've covered which signs Lorenzo predicts might benefit financially.
Right.
And which signs need to be careful.
Yes.
I have a feeling his predictions for this Venus retrograde go even deeper than that.
Oh, you're absolutely right. There's a much bigger picture that Lorenzo wants us to see.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. Fill us in.
So Lorenzo is saying that this Venus retrograde isn't just about individual wins and losses.
Okay.
He says we're about to see a massive cosmic redistribution of wealth.
Wait, what, can you elaborate on that a bit?
He calls it a karmic cash reset.
Okay.
And essentially he believes that those who have been financially wronged in the past may see some compensation, while those who have been dishonest or reckless with money might face some consequences.
Hold on. Are you saying that the universe is going to play Robin Hood with our finances?
In a way, yes, Lorenzo believes that karmic debts aren't just emotional, they're financial.
Right.
And this Venus retrograde is going to balance the books.
Okay, listener. How fascinating is this?
Yeah.
So how does this karmic cash reset actually work?
Okay.
What should we be looking for?
Well, according to Lorenzo, the retrogrades movement through Aries from March 2nd to 27th, 2025 will be the time when this financial karma is really activated.
So any impulsive financial moves of the past will resurface. And if you owe someone money, be prepared to face the music.
You could say that.
Okay.
However, he also points out that if you've been underpaid or taken advantage of financially, this could also be a time of correction.
Okay, so there's a potential for both positive and negative outcomes.
Yes.
Depending on your past financial actions.
Exactly.
Okay, what about the Pisces phase of the retrograde? How does that factor into this karmic cash reset?
Well, from March 28th to April 6th, 2025, Venus will be retrograding through Pisces.
Okay.
And Lorenzo explains that this is when financial illusions will collapse. He says to expect scams.
Okay.
False promises and shady deals to be exposed.
So it's like a cosmic truth serum for finances.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Lorenzo suggests that during this Pisces phase, we might see unexpected refunds. Lost money suddenly reappearing.
Okay.
And even mysterious payouts happening.
Interesting.
If you spent money on something based on false expectations, you might get it back in some strange ways.
This is wild.
It is.
I've never heard of anything like this before.
It's definitely a unique perspective.
Okay.
But Lorenzo doesn't stop there.
I knew it. Okay, listener. This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm hooked. Tell me more.
He takes this concept of a karmic cash reset to a whole other level.
Okay.
He believes that this financial karma won't just impact individuals. He says it will affect global wealth dynamics as well.
Whoa, hold on. Are you saying that this Venus retrograde could shake up the entire financial system as we know it?
That's exactly what Lorenzo's predicting.
Wow.
He believes that we'll see large companies and even celebrities with financial scandals being exposed.
Oh, wow.
Legal battles over unpaid wages or financial injustice will make headlines. And he even suggests that the stock market might experience major corrections linked to previous financial deception.
So it's not just about checking our personal bank accounts.
Right.
We need to be paying attention to, like, the larger financial landscape as well.
Yes, pay attention to the bigger picture.
This is huge.
It is. This Venus retrograde, according to Lorenzo, is like a giant wake-up call for everyone to really examine their relationship with money, both personally and collectively.
Wow, I need a moment to process all of this.
Yeah.
This particular Venus retrograde sounds incredibly intense.
It's definitely a lot to unpack, but I think the main takeaway here is that, according to Lorenzo, this Venus retrograde is about achieving balance and fairness.
Okay.
He believes the universe is stepping in to correct past financial imbalances, both big and small.
This is mind-blowing. Okay, so what does this all mean for our listener? What should they be doing to prepare for this cosmic cash reset?
Well, I think the first step is to just reflect on our own financial history.
So to really look at, like, our spending habits, our debts, investments.
Yes, and ask ourselves some tough questions.
Okay, like what?
Have we been financially responsible? Have we treated others fairly in financial matters? Have we been taken advantage of financially?
Great questions. Okay, and then how do we use that information to navigate this retrograde?
That's where Lorenzo's insights about the specific zodiac signs come in.
Okay.
If you're one of the signs that he predicts will benefit financially, this might be a time to be more proactive, to seize opportunities, and to make sure that you're getting what you're owed.
So to chase down those invoices?
Yes.
And be open to, like, new financial possibilities as well.
Precisely. But if you're one of the signs that he's warning about, it's time to be extra cautious.
Okay.
Avoid impulsive spending, risky investments, and lending money that you can't afford to lose.
Got to be mindful, be prepared, and maybe consult with a financial advisor if needed.
Excellent advice. And above all, remember that Lorenzo says this Venus retrograde is a time for reflection and adjustment.
Okay.
It's an opportunity to get our financial house in order and to align our actions with our values.
I love that. So it's not just about money, it's about integrity and living in alignment with our true selves.
Exactly.
This has been an incredible deep dive so far.
Yes.
Lorenzo's predictions for this Venus retrograde are really, really thought-provoking.
They are.
I have a feeling we'll be talking about this one for years to come.
I agree. It sounds like it could be a major turning point in our collective relationship with money.
Well, listener, we've covered a lot of ground today in part 1 of our deep dives.
A lot.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay. What
if the universe actually owes you money? What if there are karmic debts waiting to be settled in your favor?
That's a great question to ponder.
Isn't it? We'll be back with part 2 soon to explore that very question.
We will.
And delve even deeper into Lorenzo's predictions for this potentially life-changing Venus retrograde. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into Venus retrograde 2025.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything we talked about in part 1.
Yeah.
Lorenzo's predictions are intense.
Yeah, it's a lot to process, for sure. We talked about, the specific dates of the retrograde, the signs that might experience financial benefits, and those that, need to be a little extra careful with their money.
Right. But what really stood out to me was this idea of a karmic cash reset.
Right.
Like the universe basically balancing out any financial injustices from the past.
Right. And it got me thinking, who hasn't felt cheated financially at some point in their lives?
Seriously.
Like,
whether it's a job that totally underpaid you, a shady landlord, or even just that friend who still hasn't paid you back for those concert tickets.
Oh, yeah. Right.
It can be so frustrating.
To say the least. But what Lorenzo is suggesting here is that this Venus retrograde could actually bring a sense of, karmic justice to those situations.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but I'm also a bit skeptical. How would this actually work? Is the universe going to suddenly deposit money into our bank accounts?
Well, it's probably not that literal. Remember, astrology is about cycles and patterns.
Okay.
Not specific events.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
So is it more about the energy of this retrograde creating opportunities for financial balance?
Exactly. Think of it as the universe kind of nudging things in the right direction, opening doors that were previously closed, and maybe even revealing hidden truths that could lead to, financial gains.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. So for someone who feels like they've been financially wronged, how might this retrograde play out in their favor?
Well, there are a lot of possibilities. For example, let's say you've been working really hard at your job, you're putting in the hours, but you're constantly undervalued and underpaid.
Ooh, I think a lot of people can relate to that.
It's unfortunately pretty common. But Lorenzo suggests that during this retrograde, you might suddenly receive a promotion or a significant raise or even a new job opportunity with much better pay and benefits.
So it's like the universe is finally recognizing their worth and stepping in to correct that imbalance.
Exactly.
I like that.
Or let's say someone owes you money.
Okay.
And they've been ignoring your calls and texts, avoiding the issue completely.
Ugh, that's the worst. I've definitely been there.
It can be really frustrating.
Yeah.
But during this retrograde, that person might have a sudden change of heart.
Okay.
And finally decide to pay you back. Or maybe they experience a financial setback themselves, which forces them to confront their debts and finally take responsibility.
Wow. Okay, so it's not always about receiving money directly.
Right.
It could also be about witnessing justice being served, even if it doesn't directly benefit us financially.
Precisely. The point is that this Venus retrograde is about restoring balance and fairness to the financial realm in whatever way that manifests.
I love that it gives me hope that even if we've been wronged in the past, the universe might have a way of, evening things out.
Right.
But what about the flip side? What happens to those who have been dishonest or reckless with money? Does this karmic cash reset affect them too?
Absolutely. Lorenzo predicts this retrograde could bring some challenges for those who haven't been acting with financial integrity.
So it's like a cosmic audit of our financial karma.
You could put it that way if someone has accumulated wealth through unethical means.
Okay.
Or if they've consistently taken advantage of others financially, this retrograde could expose their actions and lead to some pretty serious consequences.
So we might see more financial scandals coming to light.
It's possible.
More instances of fraud and corruption being exposed.
That's certainly a possibility.
Okay.
Lorenzo also highlights that for individuals who have been, living beyond their means, racking up debt or making impulsive financial decisions, This retrograde could force them to confront their financial realities.
Ouch, it sounds like a wake-up call is coming for anyone who hasn't been respecting their finances.
It could be. It's definitely a powerful reminder to get our financial houses in order.
So what's the best way for the listener to navigate this Venus retrograde, regardless of their past financial karma?
Well, as we discussed in part 1, it's crucial to be mindful of spending habits.
Right.
And to avoid making any major financial decisions during this time.
Right, because the energy of the retrograde can make things so unpredictable.
Exactly. Beyond that, I think it's essential to approach our finances with integrity and a sense of fairness.
So to be honest with ourselves about our financial situation.
Yes.
To make amends if we've wronged someone,
yeah.
and to be open to negotiation and compromise when necessary.
Yes, and remember, this retrograde also highlights our own self-worth. So it's a great time to demand fair compensation for our efforts.
So if we've been undervaluing ourselves, this is a good time to ask for that raise.
Yes.
Or to seek out opportunities that are more aligned with our true worth. This is also fascinating. I'm starting to see this Venus retrograde as less about punishment and reward and more about the universe realigning things, pushing us all towards a more balanced relationship with money.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's about aligning our actions with our values and creating a more just and equitable financial landscape for everyone.
I love that. So even if the listener doesn't see a sudden windfall of cash during this retrograde, they can still take steps to ensure that their financial karma is in good standing.
Absolutely. And you never know, by aligning themselves with the energy of this retrograde, they might just attract the financial abundance they deserve.
I like that. I know Lorenzo has some pretty specific predictions about how this Venus retrograde will play out on a global scale. I'm curious to hear more about that.
He does. He believes that this retrograde will expose the cracks in our current financial systems.
Okay.
Particularly those built on greed, exploitation, and inequality.
So like big banks, corporations, even governments might be facing a reckoning.
It's definitely possible. Lorenzo predicts we'll see more whistleblowers coming forward, more investigative journalism uncovering financial scandals, and more legal battles challenging the status quo.
Wow. Sounds like a time of major upheaval and transformation for the financial world.
It very well could be. But even though this all sounds a bit unsettling, Lorenzo also sees this as an incredible opportunity for positive change.
Okay, I'm listening. What kind of positive change?
Well, he believes that this retrograde could spark a movement towards more ethical and sustainable financial practices.
So like a shift away from exploitative capitalism and towards a more equitable and conscious approach to wealth.
Exactly. Lorenzo predicts we'll see more people investing in socially responsible businesses, supporting local economies, and exploring alternative currencies and financial systems.
That's so encouraging. It sounds like this Venus retrograde isn't just about personal financial karma, but also about a collective awakening to the need for a more just and sustainable financial system.
I think that's a beautiful way to look at it. It's a time for us to reevaluate our values, to challenge the systems that no longer serve us, and to co-create a financial future that benefits everyone.
I love that vision. It's inspiring to think about the potential for positive change that could come out of this retrograde, but it can also feel a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
For our listeners who might be feeling a bit lost or unsure how to navigate all of this, what advice would you give them? What are some practical steps they can take to align themselves with this karmic cash reset?
That's a great question. And I think the answer lies in combining some inner reflection with outer action.
Okay, I like that. So it's not just about changing our external circumstances,
right,
but also about shifting our internal mindset when it comes to money.
Precisely. I think one of the most powerful things we can do during this retrograde is to simply become more aware of our relationship with money.
So to pay attention to our spending habits,
yes,
track our income and expenses, and really examine our beliefs and attitudes toward wealth.
Exactly. And as we do this, we might start to notice patterns or habits that are no longer serving us.
Like maybe we're spending money on things we don't need, maybe to impress people we don't even like.
Right.
Or we're clinging to outdated beliefs about money that are actually blocking our abundance.
Right, like that old saying, money is the root of all evil.
Right.
That's definitely not a belief that's going to attract wealth.
It's not. So part of this process is about identifying and releasing those limiting beliefs.
Yes.
And replacing them with more empowering ones.
Think of it as financial decluttering, both externally and internally.
I love that. Okay, so we've done some inner work and become more aware of our financial patterns. What are some practical actions we can take to align ourselves with the energy of this retrograde?
Well, one of the most important things, according to Lorenzo, is to be proactive about getting what we're owed.
So to send out those invoices,
Yes.
follow up on overdue payments,
Yes.
and negotiate for fair compensation.
Yes. This is not a time to be shy or passive about our financial needs. Right. We need to advocate for ourselves and make sure we're being valued for our contributions.
Exactly. And if we've been wronged in the past, this is the time to seek justice or restitution.
So whether that means contacting a lawyer, filing a complaint, or even just having a direct conversation with the person who owes us money, it's about taking action and not letting those past injustices continue to weigh us down.
You got it.
This is all so empowering. It's like this Venus retrograde is giving us permission to finally stand up for ourselves and demand what we deserve, but it's also about recognizing what we owe ourselves.
I was just going to say that it's not just about what we receive from others. It's about how we treat ourselves financially, too.
What does that look like in a practical sense?
Well, ask yourself, are you investing in your own growth and well-being?
Okay.
Are you treating yourself with respect and generosity? Are you creating a financial foundation that truly supports your dreams and aspirations? Those are such important questions to consider. I think it's easy to get caught up in what others owe us and to forget to prioritize our own financial well-being.
It happens to the best of us, but during this retrograde, it's essential to focus on meeting our own financial needs and making choices that are in line with our long-term goals.
So maybe instead of splurging on that trendy new gadget, we invest in that online course that will help us advance our careers.
Right.
Or maybe we finally start contributing to a retirement fund or paying down those high-interest credit card debts.
Those are great examples. It's all about making conscious choices that support our overall financial well-being. And it doesn't have to feel restrictive either. Remember, this is about abundance and alignment, not deprivation or scarcity.
So we can still enjoy our lives and treat ourselves.
Absolutely.
But it's about doing so in a way that's sustainable and in line with our values.
Exactly. And as we make these shifts both internally and externally, we'll start to see the positive effects ripple out into all areas of our lives.
I'm starting to get excited about the potential of this retrograde.
Me too.
But I think it's important to acknowledge that change, especially when it comes to our finances, can be really scary for some people.
Of course.
What advice would you give to those listeners who are feeling anxious about all this?
That's such a great point. It's completely natural to feel some fear around this kind of change and uncertainty.
Right.
But it's important to remember that fear is a low vibration energy that can actually block abundance.
So how do we move through that fear and embrace the transformative potential of this retrograde?
Well, I think the first step is to acknowledge our fears and give ourselves permission to feel them.
So to not try to suppress them or pretend they don't exist.
Right, because when we resist our fears, we only give them more power over us.
So we acknowledge the fear, but we don't let it control us.
Exactly. And then we can shift our focus to what we do want to create in our lives.
So instead of focusing on the potential for financial loss, we visualize ourselves attracting abundance and prosperity.
Exactly. And we start taking action steps towards those goals, even if they feel small or insignificant at first.
Because every step, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction.
It is. And as we move through this retrograde with intention and awareness, we'll start to see that the universe is not working against us, but rather with us.
That's such a reassuring thought. I'm feeling a lot more confident and excited about this Venus retrograde now. What about you?
Me too. And remember, we're all in this together. We're collectively shifting our relationship with money.
Yeah.
And the more we support and encourage each other, the smoother this transition will be.
I love that it's not a competition, it's a collaboration.
Exactly. And by working together, we can create a financial future that is more just equitable and abundant for everyone.
This has been such an illuminating conversation. I'm feeling so much more informed and empowered about this Venus retrograde now.
I'm happy to hear that. And remember, we're just scratching the surface here.
Right.
There's so much more to explore and discover about this fascinating astrological event.
Absolutely. And speaking of exploring, I know Lorenzo has one more very intriguing prediction about this Venus retrograde that we haven't talked about yet.
Oh, yes. His prediction about reverse wealth transfers.
That's the one thing, yes. Okay, listener, you do not want to miss this. We'll be back with part 3 soon to break it all down. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Venus retrograde 2025.
We've covered so much ground already, from the idea of like personal money karma to the potential for, global shifts in how we even view and manage finances.
It's been a wild ride, and in part 3, we are finally going to explore Lorenzo's Most intriguing prediction yet.
Yes.
The one he calls reverse wealth transfers.
This is where Lorenzo's predictions get really interesting, even a little radical.
Okay, I'm all ears. So what are these reverse wealth transfers? What do they mean for the listener?
Well, Lorenzo believes that this Venus retrograde goes beyond individual gains and losses, or even systemic changes, like to the, financial systems themselves. He's suggesting we're about to witness a major shift in how wealth is actually distributed on a global scale.
Wow, that's a huge statement.
It is.
Okay, can you break that down for us?
So he predicts that those who have accumulated wealth through unethical or exploitative means are about to experience a reversal of fortune.
Okay, so are we talking about like corrupt CEOs?
Yes.
Greedy corporations?
Yes.
Maybe even entire countries that have profited from like exploiting others?
Exactly. Lorenzo believes that their ill-gotten gains will be exposed and redistributed to those who have been wronged.
Okay, now I see how this connects to the idea of, money karma that we discussed in the previous parts.
Right.
It's like the universe stepping in to correct, centuries of financial imbalances.
That's the core of it. But what's so fascinating is how Lorenzo sees these reverse wealth transfers actually happening in the real world.
So how does this play out? Like, what will it look like?
So Lorenzo predicts a surge in legal battles, investigations, and whistleblowing activities.
So more lawsuits against corporations for things like wage theft, environmental damage, human rights abuses.
Exactly. And more journalists and activists who are driven to uncover and expose corruption and, financial misconduct.
Could this even lead to governments being held accountable for their role in perpetuating economic inequality?
Lorenzo certainly thinks. So he sees this Venus retrograde as empowering those who have been marginalized and silenced to finally speak truth to power.
Wow, this is giving me chills.
Power.
It really does sound like a revolution of sorts is brewing.
It's a powerful concept, but Lorenzo also cautions that these shifts won't happen overnight.
Right. Real change takes time, effort, and sustained action.
Exactly. He emphasizes that we need to be patient and persistent in our pursuit of justice and equality. This isn't about passively waiting for the universe to magically redistribute wealth. It's about actively working to create a more equitable financial system.
So how can the listener be a part of this shift? What actions can they take?
So supporting organizations and individuals fighting for, economic justice is a great place to start.
So donating to charities that align with these goals.
Yes.
Volunteering our time, speaking out against injustice, and using our voices to advocate for positive change.
Exactly. And it also means making conscious choices about where we spend our money, who we bank with, and how we invest.
So being mindful of supporting ethical businesses, choosing banks that align with our values, and even investing in companies that are committed to social and environmental responsibility.
Yes. Every decision we make, no matter how small it seems, contributes to the collective shift towards a more just financial system.
It's both empowering and a bit daunting to realize how much our individual choices can actually make a difference.
It is, but I believe this Venus retrograde is acting as a catalyst for change, both on a personal and global level.
This has been such an incredible deep dive. I'm honestly feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension about this Venus retrograde.
Me too.
But I think it's safe to say that we'll never look at money the same way again.
I agree. It's definitely a time of transformation and reevaluation.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap things up, I want to bring the focus back to the individual listener one last time.
Of course, because even the most massive global shifts begin with personal transformation.
Right. So to our listeners who are ready to embrace the energy of this Venus retrograde and step into their own financial power, I want to leave you with this. Remember that you are worthy of abundance.
Yes.
No matter what your past financial experiences have been or what your current circumstances might be.
We all deserve to experience financial well-being and to create a life of prosperity and abundance.
We have unique talents and gifts to offer the world.
Yeah.
And it's time to own our worth and not settle for anything less than we deserve.
It's about releasing any shame or guilt we might have around money and stepping into a mindset of abundance and confidence.
Because those negative emotions can block the flow of prosperity and abundance. Instead, let's cultivate feelings of gratitude, generosity, and joy when it comes to our finances.
Because when we approach money from a place of abundance, we're much more likely to attract it into our lives.
It's the law of attraction in action. And lastly, I would just encourage everyone to trust the process.
To trust that the universe is working in our favor, even if we can't see the bigger picture right now.
This Venus retrograde might bring some challenges and disruptions,
Right.
but it's ultimately guiding us toward a more balanced and harmonious relationship with money.
I love that. So to our listeners, surrender to the flow.
Yes.
Embrace the unknown, and trust that you're being supported every step of the way.
And remember to have some fun with it, too. It's an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what we all create together as we navigate this powerful astrological event.
What a powerful and insightful conversation this has been. Lorenzo's predictions are certainly eye-opening.
They are.
And I'm feeling so much more aware and empowered about this Venus retrograde now.
Me too. And to our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey.
Yes.
May you all experience the transformative power of Venus retrograde 2025 in positive and abundant ways.
Remember, the universe has your back.
It does.
Trust your intuition, take inspired action, and watch as your financial dreams become a reality.
Until next time, may you be blessed with abundance and alignment.
This has been The Deep Dive. See you on the next cosmic adventure.